Okay, guys, let's roll. Time is really tight. We're going to be talking about the Middle East war, obviously. We'll be focusing on the Straits of Hormuz with the 1,000 tankers backed up there, and the news that Iran has started to mine the straits. It's all good stuff. And then we'll be talking about Israel, the failure of its Iron Dome, and could this mean the end of Israel? Yeah. If you're not interested in that, I'll leave a link to the paint drying channel in the description, and you can go over there. I think they do in what is it? Oh yeah, Magnolia today. It's a gloss. Nah, I know it's not a matte paint, but a gloss is okay to watch sometimes. You know, take a while to dry. Should take up about 4 hours. It's quite entertaining. But if you're not into paint drying, then stick around and listen to reports on the war in the Middle East. Okay, here we go. Um, why am I qualified to talk about mining operations in the Middle East? Because I spent a large part of my time in the Royal Navy serving aboard mine hunters and minesweepers. Very quickly, the differences. The vessel behind me is a mine hunter, that's HMS Kettleston. Let's get the minesweepers out of the way first. Those are the vessels that deploy with otters, called otters, cables out to the port and the starboard side, yeah, sweeping for mines that are anchored to the bottom, the traditional ones that you sort of see in war films, bobbing along on the surface with the horns sticking out, waiting for a vessel to hit them. Quite nasty, but there are nastier mines, and those are the ones that the mine hunter, like you see above HMS Kettleston, sought, and we used to do it all the time. And so we'd be looking for mines lying on the seabed, and these would be magnetic, acoustic, or pressure activated. These days they've got more modern smart mines, and I'm not totally familiar with them. I know a little bit about them, but not so much. So when it comes to mine warfare, I know quite a bit about it. So let's first of all catch up with what is happening in the Iran war. Bear with me. Here we go. Good old Sam. Sam, could I have the very latest news on the Iranian war, please? Here is the very latest situation as early today, 12th of March, in the Iran war. I'll keep it clear and practical for you, Paul, especially the naval Hormuz situation, since that's where your instincts were pointing yesterday. Been trying to make this video since yesterday, guys. Since then, there have been developments. So we know 5 vessels attacked, 3 merchant ships struck. Iran has laid about a dozen mines in the Straits of Hormuz. I was going to tell you, Iran doesn't really want to lay many mines. She doesn't have to. Just one mine is enough to make the ship stop sailing up the straits. Insurance prices for those vessels has gone up 1,000% now. So fill your cars up now, boys. Fill them up now. Yeah, get all those empty milk bottles, fill them up as well. Because petrol is definitely going to rise. Yeah, so insurance premiums have gone up 1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah, so you could be looking at oil going up from $100 a barrel to maybe $300 a barrel. We shall have to watch and see. So what's the news here then? Straits of Hormuz now the central battlefield. Several commercial ships have already been hit. I won't read everything. 3 merchant vessels, 1 tanker, damage reported on container ships and bulk carriers. Iran's Revolutionary Guard warned no oil will be allowed to leave the Gulf if attacks on Iran continue. Yeah, America's going to have to pull back soon, guys, because America might say that they are winning, but they are not. They are losing badly. Yeah, they might have control of the air, but that's not where the action is. And they haven't got total control of the air either now. Iran's come up with ways to counter that. They've been preparing for this for a long time. Tanker traffic has almost collapsed. 20% of the world's oil. Mines have now been confirmed. Mines reportedly deployed in the shipping lanes. Claims it has destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying boats. If you have a look at the footage of that was taken of those vessels being destroyed, you'll see that they are really small vessels. Yeah, they're not capable of deploying some of the big mines that I told you about. But what the Iranians have come up with is smaller mines, 200, 300 kilo mines that small boats like that can take out and deploy. The bigger mines are deployed by fishing vessels at night. Yeah, lots of fishing vessels out there, and they can deploy the big acoustic pressure mines like that. They've also got what they call floater mines that just throw them over the side. They're not big, and the pressure, and they'll go down to a certain level, and they'll just drift along just under the surface of the sea. A nightmare for any ship. Maybe not enough to sink it, but enough to damage it and stop it in its tracks. Yeah. Here's the big story though. The insurance crisis. War risk insurance rocketed over 1,000%. Okay, America has just announced that they will underwrite the insurance companies that insure the vessels. But that said, the vessel owners are now reluctant to put their ships at risk. Multi-million-dollar ships. They just don't want to lose them, so they're not going. The ships not really understanding how the military and warfare works. Shipping companies have asked the Americans to escort their tankers through the Gulf. America hasn't done this. Yeah, they keep quiet about it, but they haven't done it. And the simple reason, they know that where they send a warship into the straits, check your phones, make sure mic's working, in the strait, those warships would be destroyed within a matter of hours. Yeah, they wouldn't get very far. That's just a fact. You can either believe me or not. As you know perfectly well from your new naval experience, ships cannot sail without war risk insurance. Result, tankers are waiting outside the rate. Some routes frozen. Governments are stepping in to backstop insurers. Even created a 20 billion reinsurance scheme to keep shipping moving. Iranian tactics, exactly what you'd expect. Explosive drone boats, fast attack craft, sea mines, missiles against tankers and ports. Yeah, America cannot win this war, and there's no way they can put boots on the ground either. They can, but they'll be coming home in black body bags. And if there's one thing the American public hate, it's seeing their bodies of their soldiers come home. Yeah, war beyond the strait widened across the region. We'll be talking about this in a moment. Strikes on Kuwait and Bahrain, drone attacks on Saudi oil facilities early in the conflict. People were asking at the beginning, what on earth is the purpose of attacking those neighbouring states? Money. It's money which will decide when this war ends. And I'm going to show you something in a moment which will give you an understanding of just how this is working. Oil prices surged. Quick strategic read, naval perspective. Iran appears to be doing three things simultaneously: economic warfare, target shipping and insurance, psychological pressure, make the straits appear unsafe, yeah, so the ships won't go there, low-cost disruption, mines and drones, and small boats instead of big naval battles. I told you about the other day, our $20,000 drone destroyed a 10 billion radar site, presumably for I can't remember, the Patriot missile system. Exact nightmare scenario naval planners have worried about decades. One thing I think you'll find is interesting, you asked yesterday how small those small Iranian boats could lay mines. There are now suggestions they are used in drone surface vessels. Don't take a carrier near those guys. fishing dhows, pre-positioned mines deployed earlier. The Americans say they know where these mines are. I don't believe them. The waters in that part of the world are extremely shallow. The temperatures rise to about 30 degrees centigrade, which makes it really difficult to find these mines, plus all the clutter on the seabed. Yeah, any ship that attempted to search for them, like my old ship shown in the image there, wouldn't last very long. Right, now let's go here. Let's have a listen to this channel for a second. Very, very interesting, because there's some, well, it's interesting. Take my word for it. Let's have a look.
To Ukraine. Now let's discuss, to my opinion, the most important and the most interesting update that was published regarding the situation in the Middle East. So this is the article that was published today, and this is a very interesting piece of news. The government of Spain has removed its ambassador to Israel according to a decision published Wednesday in the official state journal. So, from one side, nothing special about this article. So, what is interesting and important when talking about the Spain ambassador on the territory of Israel? I would like to remind you that yesterday the Iranians made two very important statements about the conflict in the Middle East. Let's discuss them in details once again. The Iranians said that any Arab or European country that expels the ambassador of Israel and the United States from its territory will, starting tomorrow, have full authority and freedom to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. So that was the first statement that was made by the Iranians. And the second one, Tehran is ready for de-escalation in the Middle East if neighboring countries stop using it to attack Iran. So this is the second statement. Summarizing everything, the Iranians told us that if any country will remove the embassies of the United States of America and Israel from their territories, then this European country will be able to use the Strait of Hormuz. So now let's back to the statement that was made by the Spanish authorities. Once again, according to this article, the government of Spain has removed its ambassador to Israel. So we see that this the Spanish ambassador left Israel in the direction of Spain. Of course, this is not something that the Iranians were asking, but we understand that according to the language of diplomacy, the Israelis must do the same. They also must take their ambassador and to leave Spain in the direction of Israel. So let's wait and see, of course, what the Israelis are going to do this, but once again, according to the diplomatic language, they must do this, and very, very soon. And if it happens, then it will be a very interesting situation that's related to the Strait of Hormuz, because from this very moment, Spain will complete everything according to the first demand of the Iranians, that if any country remove the embassies of Israel and the United States of America from their territories, then this country will be able to use the Strait of Hormuz. And this is a very interesting situation and very interesting to understand how the things are going to develop, because it seems that the Western countries, and first of all Spain itself, are trying to understand whether this thing is going to happen or not, and this is going to be obviously a very huge damage to the coalition if it happens. If the Israelis remove the embassy from Spain, and if from this very moment the Iranians will allow Spain to use the Strait of Hormuz, this is going to be the biggest political and media attack on the coalition. And obviously after this situation, we will find lots of states, lots of countries through the world who will follow and do the same. Another important thing is that today the Qatarians stated that since the beginning of this conflict, they haven't allowed the United States of America to use their territories to attack the military facilities and the territory of Iran itself. And this is the second statement that was made by the Iranians. If you remember, once again, Tehran is ready for de-escalation in the Middle East if neighboring countries stop using it to attack Iran. So this is a very important situation, and from this very moment, the Qatarians may increase their pressure on the coalition with the purpose to force them to stop using these territory to attack Iran. And if it happens, then there are very, very high chances that the Iranians will also stop bombing and attacking the state of Qatar and Bahrain. And if you take a look at our map, you will see that during the previous 24 hours, we haven't received almost anything from the territories of these two states. Maybe there are
Okay, guys, so that's the situation there. Iran has told countries that if they remove their embassies from Israel, they're in Jerusalem now, their embassies are. That was something Donald Trump gave them. Upset the entire world, that did, moving them from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, the planned center of the world. That ain't going to happen now, Israel, forget it. They've told all these countries, pull out your embassies and your ships can sail through the straits without worrying about being attacked. Yeah, and you know, money makes the world go round. A lot of countries are going to be thinking, well, hang on, is our support for Israel really worth it? It's reluctant support for Israel because America is waving their big stick for their masters. Yeah, Donald is doing as he's told her. You know, the Epstein regime. I think there may be, I'm really still hoping that President Trump wasn't involved on Epstein Island, but I'm getting a bad feeling about it. Yeah. So there you go. They're pulling out. Spain has started the ball rolling. Will other countries follow suit? I don't think it really matters now, because Iran is obviously winning the war. It'll be America that'll have to sue for peace, but they will spin it to the American peoples that it was a great victory. But thinking people will know the truth. Now we've got to talk about Israel itself. What is happening there? Could it be the end of Israel? I tell you why. We'll go to this place here. We're going to be talking about the Israeli Iron Dome. Yeah, it takes 6 minutes for the Iron Dome to fire up from the time a missile is launched. In the past, that's been more than enough time for the Israelis to react to missiles launched into it. But now, the Iranians got the Fatwa 2. Yeah, watch this video and you'll see why America can't win or Israel can't win.
That's how long it took for Iran's newest hypersonic missile to travel from a launch site outside Tehran to a military target in central Israel. Not 10 minutes, not 15 minutes, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. From ignition to impact, launch detected to explosion, warning issued to destruction completed. And here's the detail that makes every Israeli civil defense planner want to resign immediately. Israel's missile alert system requires 6 minutes to complete its full warning cycle. Detect the launch, calculate the trajectory, determine the impact zone, transmit alerts to the affected areas, sound the sirens, get the population into shelters. 6 minutes? The missile arrives in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. It hits 1 minute and 40 seconds before the warning system can finish telling people to take cover. The Fatah 2, that's what Iran is calling it. A hypersonic glide vehicle with a range of over 100 kilometers and a speed that Israeli radar operators initially refused to believe when they saw it on their screens. Mach 15. 15 times the speed of sound. That's 11,500 miles per hour. That's 1 miles per second. The distance from Tehran to Tel Aviv is 990 miles. Do the math. At 1 miles per second, 990 miles takes 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And there is no defensive system currently deployed in Israel or anywhere else that can reliably intercept a target moving at Mach 15 while maneuvering during its terminal approach. The Fatah 2 is not Iran's first hypersonic missile. Iran unveiled the Fatah 1 last year with Mach 13 capability and a 1,400 kilometer range. The Fatah 2 is the upgraded variant, same range, higher speed, better maneuverability, and most critically, a maneuverable re-entry vehicle that changes its flight path multiple times during descent. That last feature is what makes interception mathematically impossible with current technology. Here's how missile defense works when it works. A radar detects an incoming missile. The system calculates where that missile will be in 30 seconds, based on its current trajectory and speed. An interceptor launches toward the predicted intercept point. The interceptor arrives at that point, at the exact moment the incoming missile is supposed to be there. They collide. The threat is neutralized. This works when the incoming missile follows a predictable ballistic arc. It does not work when the incoming missile changes direction mid-flight. The Fata-2 doesn't fly a ballistic arc, it glides. After the initial boost phase, the missile separates from its rocket booster and enters a glide phase where small control surfaces adjust its trajectory continuously. Not huge course corrections, small adjustments, 5 degrees left, 3 degrees right, 2 degrees down. Each adjustment is tiny, but each adjustment means the missile is no longer where the defensive system predicted it would be. And when you're trying to hit a target moving at Mach 15, being wrong by 3 degrees means missing by miles.
Okay, guys, see the problem Israel has? If you go and look at Telegram and other places, I won't bother. I don't want to. I got to keep this video small. It'll take long enough to upload as it is. You'll see images of missiles landing on Israel. Pretty soon, the people of Tel Aviv will understand what it's like for the people of Gaza City. And if you've seen the images of that, you're looking at First World War stuff. Yeah, everything gone. Yeah, they were just getting it ready to build their new Dubai. Well, that ain't gonna happen. And so now the Israelis are finally getting a taste of what it's like to live without the protection of the Iron Dome. Anyhow, I did say, would Israel survive? And I tell you what made me wonder this is the fact that it was a video by Tucker Carlson talking to Colonel McGregor. I think his name's Colonel McGregor. Let's have a listen to what these guys are saying. Israel may not survive. This is a real interesting video.
I think you have to find an intermediary, first of all, someone who is not part of the problem. My personal preference, if I were advising the president, is to call Prime Minister Modi in India. Now you can say, well, he was just in Israel. Well, that's fine. He has good relations with Israel. That's not a bad thing. He also has good relations with Iran. He's never been an enemy of the Iranian people. Neither are the Shiite Iranians his enemy. He knows that. And he has reasonable relations with the Chinese. They have their differences up in the mountains, in the Himalayas, the Hindu Kush, and that is a legacy of British colonialism. But my point is that he's historically leading a neutral state, and a neutral state that is growing in stature, in power, in influence and importance. We should recognize that and welcome it, not treat it as a problem. And I think if President Trump talked to him and said, look, we need to end this. And somebody will say, well, why do you need to end it? Because if we don't, we're going to hit $300 per barrel of oil. We're going to watch 60 to 80% of the stock value crash. People are going to lose trillions in wealth. It will be a disaster. And it's not something we'll recover from. We've already seen that the Israelis hit a refinery on the outskirts of Tehran. And what did Iran do? They destroyed the refinery and its supporting infrastructure in Haifa. How does this help us? How does this help anybody? The damage that's being done is going to be semi-permanent. And by that, I mean it's going to take years to recover from this. The Qatari government has said we're shutting down. We can't store anymore. We can't drill anymore. We can't refine anymore. I mean, this is a catastrophe. We look at this and say, well, only 3% of our oil comes from the Gulf. Well, I got news for you. 50% of it goes to India. 50% goes to China. 70+% goes to Japan. Mid 60% or so, 64, 65% goes to South Korea. Now, did we call the president or the prime minister of Japan? Did we call the president of Korea and say, by the way, we're considering a war against Iran, action against the Iranians? And we want to know what you think the impact will be on your country because you are friends of ours. You are our allies. Did we do that? I don't think so. I think we are acting like the biggest bully in the schoolyard. The hell with everybody else. This is what I want. And I'm going to pound your face into the dust. I mean, we've all seen those people. They exist. I grew up with some of them, had the crap kicked out of me once or twice at recess. I know exactly what that is. Well, you can't do that in international relations for very long before people gang up against you. And we already have this thing called BRICS, and we seem to be determined to destroy that because we see BRICS. And right now it has, 10 members, something like that, and there are 50, 60 standing in line ready to join. We don't like it because they're looking at potentially gold-backed currency. What a novel idea. And if it's not gold, it'll be gold plus, maybe platinum, silver, who knows, other precious metals. And we're saying, well, this is a threat to us. It's a threat to our petrodollar.
Okay. I've been following international politics all my life. Yeah, just one of those things. Some people follow football. I follow geopolitics. What's happening all around the world. I remember when BRICS was first floated. I think it was then Brazil, Russia, India, China, and Syria. And when I heard that they would be returning to the gold standard, yeah, I thought, oh dear, dear, dear. America's not going to like that one little bit because the American dollar is really worthless. Mind you, I wouldn't mind $1 million American. When I was overseas, people loved the American dollar. Yeah. The mighty greenback. Yeah. But I knew then that BRICS, they would try and destroy it. Because, well, we'll have to see what happens. Anyhow, guys, I think I'll end it there. Can Israel survive? It goes on to talk about it. With the destruction or the inability of the Iron Dome to protect Israel, it means that their military installations are being overwhelmed, which means that pretty soon Iran will be able to use the really cheap swarm drones just to go in and obliterate Tel Aviv if they wish. What have you got yourself into, America? What have you got yourself into? Let's go back and have a look at my ship. Oh, I love that ship. I could show you a photograph of what happened to her in the end, but I won't. It'll make me cry. So many happy memories aboard that ship. I loved my radio room. My call sign was da da dit 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 da dit da da dit da da dit 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 da dit da da dit. You've been listening to Paul Morris, The Green Arrow, QRT.